clean energy pioneer, an author, and we wanted to invite your voice into this conversation and to help us. We're reaching towards the end of the day. People are looking for insight, inspiration.
Inspiration. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, there I am. Okay. So I'm supposed to be, near the end of the day. I'm supposed to be here to inspire everyone. So it's going to be a little bit woo-woo. So I'm just going to forewarn you of that. Okay. But some of that's good, right? And some of that is what makes entrepreneurs awesome. So ever since I can remember, I have loved to write great stories. And often those stories happen for real. And I always wondered, am I, through my writing, predicting the future, or am I creating it? And so I went on to work for Fortune 500 companies as a strategic planner. And I would help CEOs create their plans, and those companies did really well. And it just made me go, okay, so maybe a strategic plan is something like predictive storytelling. And from there, one day, after having a very lucrative career, and I came from the conservative side of things, by the way, essentially, I met this gentleman right here, Troy Helming, and he was a crazy guy from Kansas who was from a big cattle family. And we started the first wind farm company in Kansas. So this was 25 years ago. It was back when nobody wanted wind power. It was a coal-entrenched environment, and it was a hard time, actually, very, very hard time. But there were also some very exciting times. One of the things that we did is we rallied 2,300 people who were moms, megachurches, ranchers, and farmers who went out and swept the whole Midwest with site leases. And so the wind site lease is basically the first step in building a wind farm. And the reason I got into the whole wind thing, initially, Tori was like, yes, the wind is the new thing. And at the time, it was not, for me, coming from a very conservative side of things. I was not an environmentalist. I was not an activist. I was nothing like that. So in terms of where I came from at that point was my sister one day came to me and said that her son was diagnosed with autism. And Jackson hadn't been speaking for the first 5 years of his life. And this was a big change in our lives. But for me, what we found out in working with autism now is that there was a whole swath of kids along the Missouri River where I grew up, where they had high cases of autism, 100 times more than the national average. And we all got our hair samples tested. And my hair showed that I had high toxins in my hair. And so it changed that was like my aha moment. So for every pioneer out there, they had that aha moment. And it's very, for me, that was eye-opening. And what is significant here is that across the river from where we lived were the coal plants. And so when we overlaid the map of the coal plants with where the autism cases were, we saw that's where the spikes were. And so there was an effort with the Sierra Club and with the concerned citizens of Platte County. They all got together. And again, I was not an activist. I was from the business side, right? And for me, this was a turning point. It's when I knew we had to do wind power because there had to be some alternative to coal plants for this situation. And what happened was, as you can see, it's very stressful for me because this time was very hard. I turned to writing as a means of therapy. And so I enrolled at the UCLA screenwriting program. And it was remote from Kansas, and I wrote out everything that was happening in the moment, live. And then I got to the end of the screenplay, and I said to my screenwriting professor, I don't know what to write because it's such a horrible ending. I mean, I'm almost out of business. We have everybody after us. Basically, we had sabotage and death threats and just everything you can think of that could go wrong. They're very, very hard time. And he said, you know what? I think you should write the ending you want to happen. And so I did. I wrote that ending, and it was crazy. I said, okay, what can I imagine in my head? And I said, okay, I'm going to coat the whole Midwest from North Dakota to Texas with wind turbines. I want to see that happen. And 4 years later, that exact ending happened for real. We were walking through the field, and there were thousands of wind turbines as far as you could see. And our company, Tradewind Energy, became, by 2017, the largest in the U.S., and was sold to Enel Green Power at the end of 2019 to make it one of the largest in the world. And since then, gone on to pioneer solar power. Had some of the first patents in floating solar, for instance. We pioneered small utility scale solar farms where we packaged several, like 10 different types of small solar farms into a financing vehicle to get those financed. We built a biofuels plant in our house. This is painful. Anyway, and then that grew to a 10 million gallon facility that we sold for a profit. All of this was great. I was like, okay, so maybe there's something to this writing thing, right? Maybe there is. Is there some magic to it? Well, I'm not going to go on for forever here because I only have 10 minutes, but what I will say is that I ended up writing a fiction novel. And I said, what happens if I write fiction? How does that happen for real? And this is crazy, but I had faces that I randomly picked for my characters up on the wall, and I had it set across the world in Greece. And I was like, I'm not doing anything with renewable energy. I want to escape that life, right? I want to do something new. Well, what happened was I ended up meeting one of the faces on the wall when I went to Greece for the first time, for real. And that person said, I want to write a song for your book. Let's make some movies. And then I got to meet some of the shipping families in Greece. And they said, wow, tell me about renewable energy. And I went, okay. And they started doing renewable energy there. And then we raised a grant for sustainability. So it's just, there's this whole effect of things with manifesting that can happen. And I think writing is key. There's all these ideas you have in your head, right, as an entrepreneur. Bring them down, make it real. Make it real. So see it, say it, scribe it. Thank you.
Awesome. I just a quick anecdote to build on Alicia. I recently was digging around in a box of old journals, and I found a journal. I started the day talking about being in the Himalayas in 2001 as an inception point for me thinking about sustainability. And I found a journal entry from that time that said, I'll be at MIT, I'll be teaching with Peter Senge to MBA students on sustainability. And I discovered that, and that, 10 years later, that's my full-time job. So, write, manifest. I'm with you.
All right, thank you.
We are now to our final panel. And